Aloha, super nice meeting you this morning. If we are in tune, G, C, E, A. When we're playing, let's try our spider exercises, getting rid of the thumb, just doing a pluck upwards. Doesn't matter where you do it, over the sound hole near the saddle or bridge, or up on the fretboard. What we're looking for is to put a first finger on here, not flat but pointy, and work on finger dexterity. The whole idea is to do 4 of these half steps or minor seconds, and then move a finger up while keeping the fingers on the fretboard, not taking them off and holding them out here, but simply moving them with one pluck. This is a motion called pizzicato. Whenever you put your finger on the fretboard and you pull over the top and you play. A lot of violin players do that, you know. They'll put their fingers right here and then pluck over the top to do that. It's by doing it without a bow. Long story short, when we play these 4 notes, we are moving them up in succession, moving this over, and the whole idea is to put our thumb on the string that was previously played. So when we go to the C string, we're gonna play C, D, E, F, all the way up, right? And then we're gonna be moving our finger to the E string, moving this over, and then plucking. The whole thing should be, I guess, at about this pace. As soon as you get to the last one on the A string, go right back to your G strings. This does a couple things, helps us set the pace, and it allows us to see the way that we practice has a mechanism. One thing begets to another, I think, is the idea. These are kind of mindless. If you want to, you can work on getting them faster. You can also use different fingers, like your middle finger, to do the same thing. Dare I say your ring finger, and gee golly whiz, even your pinky. Not that I ever really use my pinky, but I guess the whole process is to make your other fingers besides our thumb and our pointer finger a little bit stronger moving through this process. So try those each day, and if you get bored with them, try them backwards. Try to keep the fingers as close to the possibility of this fretboard, keeping them super close, and then maybe just altering them. 1, 2, 4, 3. 1, 2, 4, 3. This allows our fingers to break that pattern of consistency and gives us the idea that our fingers can move in different patterns. Really, the end result is being able to remember like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 3, 4, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. And then being able to replicate that without even thinking. That's the idea of building processes for note memorization. There is no rhyme or reason besides the idea is you're just trying to remember what your fingers randomly hit. The slower you go, the easier it is. And then eventually we layer together scales and stuff like that, but that's for later. That is called the spider exercises. Is if you practice that for about 2.5 minutes each day, you will notice significant change in the way that your fingers flow around the fretboard. I consider any stringed instrument as having quadrants. The first quadrant is from 1 to 4, second quadrant 5 to 8, and then 9 to 12. These 3 quadrants make up a full octave. And again, we'll talk about all this stuff later, but if you were to move up your scale one way, you could also move it up in the same increments going that way. And we'll talk about that at a later time. The second one that we do is called a teeter totter, or a seesaw. Frankly, I say pick like the F major, has 2 fingers, and then maybe like the G7 or the G, either one. I'm gonna show the G7. When playing a whole note, we have 4 beats. So we play on the 1, rest, rest, rest. This is going to encourage good strumming patterns. We will influence the strings by putting our fingers in later and doing like downstrokes for quarters, down up for 8th notes, and then down up in an ostinato type of strumming for a 16th or a, dare I say, like 32nd note, really fast drum. But the whole concept is to play the chord. On the second beat, put a different finger than what you had beginning it. Therefore, you can rest the remainder of those beats and play on the 1. 1, switch, 2, 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It might seem like an eternity, but when we get to doing it as half notes on the 1 and 3, you will notice that your fingers will still move a little faster than your strumming hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Hardest part about this for me was getting my right hand to just be consistent. going up and down. Sometimes if you tap your leg, that also helps. The idea is if you can get that going, and by the end of the first week, you might be able to move your F major back and forth on quarter notes or on eighth notes, right? Which seems impossible in the beginning when you're trying to really go back and forth. The brain will stop layering these and it will start doing it in one felt swoop. The purpose of playing a chord like this is so we can take this shape, move it up, and then bar chord. So we can use this same shape to move up the whole fretboard. When we learn our 7 notes that you already know, C for C major, D for D minor, E for E minor, F for F major, G for G major, open A for A minor, and then B for B diminished or B diminished, either one. That one again, we layer down, go all the way down and pinky on the F. It's a fun way to get staccato notes. If we play it the other way, we have this pesky G note always ringing out legato, nice and open. Rather than having that, we could have it short and detached by muting it with our fingers. That's a pretty good amount of information. What we're gonna be working on is how to see a C major and then take a shape like an A major in a second fingering and move it up so you could find that same C major. It just has a different voicing, different feeling. Same 3 notes, but different chord. C major, C major, C major, C major. When we move it up, we're using the bass shapes that you already know, which is amazing because we could just jump onto a new concept. I'm gonna write a syllabus tonight for us, and I hope that it works out. What we're gonna do is try and do our chords, figure out how to play all majors. Here are the minors. You already have good fingering. You're not doing that with your D. You're using the one finger and moving that, so that's wonderful. Again, as I was saying, some chords are harder than others, and then I really like to learn, like we were talking about, like the B dominant 7. Well, we could play it a couple different ways. Or the G7, the B diminished. We could play that a couple different ways. F major, F major, F major. So what we're gonna do is work on a couple different things and then slow down and work on those as individual things and then move on to the next concept when we're pretty confident about it. And what I can say is all these different ideas will eventually amalgamate together and the broader picture will be easier to see for the ook. What we're gonna try and do is add a little vocabulary, a couple new chords, and a couple ideas that'll help get our fingers moving a little bit faster. All the way on, if you enjoy it, doing a little bit of sight reading here and there. It was nice meeting you. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Aloha.